and welcome to this week's YouTube video. Today I'm going to show you how I painted this white Cavachon and talk about using split complementaries in your paintings. So before I start, I wanted to show you the colour combination I used in this painting, especially in the Cavachon to create the form. These were pretty much red, blue-green and yellow-green. So this is what we call a split complementary. You can add additional colours into this and it still be considered a split complementary. So you don't actually just have to stick with the three colours throughout your painting. So obviously red is my dominant colour here and I am complementing my palette with the two other colours. But just to make it clear, I am not using pre-mixed colours from a tube. I am mixing all my colours from the 7 colours which are listed in this video's description box. Okay then, so let's start painting. This painting was done in 3 sittings. I'll show you a photograph of the painting at the end of each sitting so you can have a much better look at the work. I'm starting with a very brief underpainting. This has been done in raw umber plus lots of terps. At this stage, I tend to use the terps instead of white paint to achieve my lighter values. I do not want a heavy full underpainting, but more of a wash to give me a head start as to what my values are doing and if my drawing is in the right place and correct. This layer is very quick. I'm done in about 20 minutes. So here it is, the first layer complete. The second layer then is much longer. I'm going straight in with those eyes and nose. I'm using a small round brush as this is much better for detail. Colours I am mixing are variants of warm and cool blacks. I am adding cad red to make it warm, and to make it cool I am adding either white to my black or a green. So that is ultramarine deep plus yellow ochre light. For the areas around the mouth, I am using a mix of browns. I am using raw umber plus cad red and cad yellow in varying degrees. And for the cooler sections, I'm adding a mix of cad red plus ultramarine deep to my brown. So this is quite important. So I'm going to stress that you need to keep only adjusting your mix of colours on your palette according to the temperature shifts and the hue changes that you see. So what I mean by this is it warm or cool? And also, when do the colours change? So for example, you might go from maybe brown to purple. So to prevent haphazard mixing, you do not want to try and mix every colour you see from fresh. You want to keep adjusting your palette as you go along. Look at the area that you are painting and ask yourself, is it warmer or cooler than the area next to it? Is it lighter or is it darker? Your answers to these questions will help guide you to what you should add to the mix on your palette. Try to think of everything in terms of red, yellow and blue. So if it is warmer, you know that you need to add red or yellow. If it is cooler, you know that you need to add blue. Once you have adjusted the temperature, then adjust the value, making it either lighter or darker. But remember, adding white or black will cool it down, so you may need to be adding yellow or red as you add white or black to compensate for this. So I am basically painting in neutrals using the split complementary palette, achieving all my colours through mixing. This will result in a much more harmonious painting, which is much more realistic. Because it is very tempting to think of it as a white dog and therefore limit yourself to just black and white. But there is a lot of colour in white. Remember that in a room with no light there is no colour, as it takes light to reveal colour, which are our 7 colours of the rainbow. So that's red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo and violet. And the colours that we see are continually changing according to the light source, adjacent colours and reflected light. So to try and capture a white dog, cat or object in black and white will result in a very flat painting. I should probably add that on this layer I am using a little bit of Gamsol to thin my paint, but no other mediums. I am naturally a thin painter. I don't apply the paint thickly. This is just the way I am. But if you apply your paint much thicker, don't try and fight your natural style. Just take anything you think may be relevant that I am saying and try and incorporate it into your own practice. For that background, I'm using a mix of black, red and blue. In the bottom section, moving into a warmer green, so that would be blue plus yellow ochre light. To keep harmony to the maximum, you may want to adjust certain colours in your reference photo. For example, to achieve the correct blue that I was seeing in my reference photo with the harness could not be achieved with ultramarine deep. And it is the same for the pink trim. But I wanted to keep harmony throughout my painting, so I used only what was on my colour palette and I did not introduce any new colours. So for example, my pink on the trim is more of a warm pink because I used cad red. Had I been faithful to the reference photo, I would have used alizarin crimson to give me a much closer pink to what I was looking at. But harmony for the whole painting was more important to me. So that is the second layer done. As you can see, the dog is looking much more lifelike. This layer probably took me about 2 hours-ish. So then layer 3. This is a layer where I sharpen it up. I am using a small amount of linseed oil on this layer, no Gamsol. So this is the layer where my paint is at its thickest. But it's still not super thick by a lot of artists' standards. I am working on my edges, trying to get that dog to integrate into his background. For example, the area at the edge of his chin is a warm brown, and I don't want to go straight into a warm brown background, as there will be a lack of separation between the dog and the background. So I am going to add a cool bridging colour of a blue-green before I transition into a blue-brown. That way I ensure there is a good transition between my dog and background. I'm also keeping these edges nice and soft, leaving my hardest edges for the areas I want you to focus on the most. That is the eyes and nose, down to the mouth, down to the harness, then across into the background, and round and back up to those eyes. This layer is very much my fixing and refining layer. I don't really do anything major in this layer. The majority of the work has been done in the second layer. I probably spend about an hour on this layer, so here is the finished painting. I hope you have found this video useful today. Please like and subscribe if you can. Please also check out my website, sarahhallidayart.com, where you will find examples of my work and online courses that I run. Thank you for watching and see you for the next one.